Hey, Bruce Naylor, welcome to Coffee Break. This is a show that I do once a week. Try to post them on Wednesday afternoons. It's all about hi-fi related topics. And I think today's topic, well, I know that certainly there's a lot of people talk about, and there's probably been countless videos done about it, but I'm going to add my 2 cents to the equation. So here we go. And that is it the gear or is the music that makes you an audiophile? And let's begin with the definition I think most of us can agree upon when it comes to an audiophile. And that's just somebody that is interested in the highest quality reproduction of their music. That's it. Let's stop at that point and not add any more to it. The thing is, what drives audiophiles? And that is the central question in this video. Is it the gear or is it the music that is the driving force behind you being an audiophile? So in this video, I'm going to take this approach. I'm going to look at it from two different angles, from the music lover and then also from the person that uses gear to enhance the music. All right, so let's start with music as the core experience. Well, as music as a core experience, and I'm going to say I fall into this camp, although I do love the looks of vintage gear. I just salivate over some of the beautiful stuff from the 70s, that golden age, but I'm getting off topic right now. For me, I have an emotional connection with some of my favorite music. It transports me back into time, a time that when I listened to that music with my friends hanging out and having a great time is my youth. I certainly connect very much on an emotional level with that. But I have found that I've also, by using things like streaming music and collecting physical media, I've picked up other genres of music that are relatively new to me. For example, jazz fusion, which is kind of a pop and jazz sound. Think Norah Jones, Diana Krall, and others that produce that kind of music. I think maybe some Herbie Hancock might be in that camp. Anyhow, that's kind of music that I'm discovering and really, really enjoying and also forming an emotional connection with. There's some music that I can sit and listen to and just be at peace, that kind of Zen-like experience. I've also learned that through listening to music through higher quality audio gear, it helps you even rekindle your interest in other types of genres of music as well. That's what happened to me with jazz fusion. And I think also the better the gear, the more lifelike my music sounds to me. As to whether or not I can recreate a live concert in my room, that wasn't my ultimate goal. I don't even know realistically if I'd even want to do that. Live music is played through large, loud PA speakers, and there's a lot of noise. And I love well-mastered and recorded music. That's me personally. But the better the gear, the more resolving the sound, the more details I pick up in that music, and the greater the experience that I enjoy. Now, let's talk about using gear as the path towards being an audiophile. First, there's the thrill of the hunt. The hunting of that right component that will have the synergy with the rest of your system. It reminds me of this little side story. When I was a young kid, my dad bought, excuse me, he bought a 1930 Model A pickup truck that came in boxes and parts and Harvard on a trailer, and it was just this big collection of old stuff. But we spent many, many Saturdays together, me and my father, going to auctions and going to car shows and all this stuff, finding different parts, one little piece at a time. But there was some, for example, the motor. The motor was completely shot in this thing. And we needed another engine. I think the block was cracked on the old one. I don't remember the details, but the bottom line was we spent 3 years searching out for a functional motor for that pickup truck. And one day, there it was, sitting in an abandoned gas station on the floor, a motor for a Model A pickup truck, and we got that thing, and there was happiness in the valley. And I think that's kind of relates to that hunt for just the right gear. I know when I was looking for some vintage gear, the same thing. I wanted a specific things like the fluoroscan meters. I just loved them when I was in my youth, and I wanted to own the gear with it, and now I can afford it, and I got them. I also think that the equipment itself, the technology in the equipment, such as streamers and DACs and tube amplifiers and all this, leads to a lot of excitement for gear-driven audiophiles. They really appreciate things like craftsmanship and detail and build quality in the gear that they got. They're buying this to make a statement that says clearly, I want the very best that I can afford to produce the music that I want it to be produced. And I think that customization is also a big part of it. I think audiophiles that are gear driven tend to love tinkering with stuff, moving things around, swapping out cables, cartridges, all this kind of stuff. And they love it. Maybe some of them love futzing around with turntables. Maybe some people love fixing up and repairing vintage audio equipment or doing their own repairs, building DIY stuff, making their own speakers or what have you. But they love the customization. They love the ability to change things around to suit them. Gear and music are really dependent upon one another. High quality music, a great recording demands great playback equipment. So there is a real synergy between the two. It's not all one or the other by any stretch of the imagination. Now, of course, there is that whole to all the 99% of the world that are non-audiophiles. They care less about this stuff. They truly could care. They're tunes people. Give them a little Bluetooth speaker, and Spotify, hell, they're happy. But for us weirdos, those strange people out there that listen for every detail, well, it's a whole different thing. I guess it's easy to fetishize, is that the word, gear, for example, because of maybe they think these tech specs are actually going to make their music sound better, which is not always the case. Now, I'm not a objective reviewer. I'm a subjective reviewer. But I do look at the objective reviews and look at the data, and many times lower cost things like DACs can actually measure better than DACs costing 5 and 10 times that amount. So it's easy to look at, say, a $20,000 DAC and go, oh my God, this thing must sound incredible. Because you're fetishizing that piece of gear, even though that in reality that may not be the case whatsoever. That being said, the love of gear does not, and I repeat, does not negate their love of great music. That's what's really important. So, now you know a little bit about me. I'm music oriented. The gear I use is to make my music sound the best that it can given the budget I have to work with. That's me. Although I do love gear, I don't fetishize it, and I understand, hopefully I pronounced that word right. But of course I think my gear should be attractive, and I should enjoy looking at it. I gotta tell you, my Marantz PM 8006, it's a wonderful sounding amp. I love it. But I think it looks kind of fugly to me, but it performs brilliantly. And that's what was important because I listen to background music all day long, and I listen very intently when I'm reviewing gear, and it is just a sweet little amplifier. That's it. So tell me in the comments down below, what got you into being an audiophile? Is it the music? Is it the gear? Is it both? Let me know in the comments down below. Sorry to interrupt, folks. I kept tripping up over the ending here. This wraps up this week's edition of Coffee Break. Catch you next week. Bye.